Okay, so the purpose of this meeting, as I explained before, is for me to inform you about what mediation is about, but also for me to learn your perspective of the situation with Aaron. Does that sound okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so I did send you some information about mediation, but the thing I want to emphasise before we even begin really is about confidentiality, as that's really the cornerstone of mediation. So our entire conversation is completely confidential. Whatever you tell me now, I'm not going to go and pass it across to Aaron at all. So anything you tell me now, I'm not going to disclose to anyone, whether in or outside of your organisation. So I just want you to feel that you can speak openly and honestly with me. Okay. I also want to emphasise that mediation is voluntary. So I just want to double check that you do feel willing to be here and you don't feel pressurised by anyone to do this.
No, I definitely want to give this a try.
Okay, well, that's great. So if I can just now tell you about my role as a mediator. So I am completely independent, I am impartial, and I'm not going to be taking sides. I'm not going to be telling you what to do as an outcome, but what I will be doing is assisting you. I'm going to guide you through the process and actively assist you in reaching your own agreements with Aaron. So you're in complete control of what you agree to. Is that all okay?
Yep, that's fine. I understand everything you've said, and I also read the information that you'd sent through to me as well.
So, before we properly get into it, why don't you tell me how you got into your role at Smallville Council?
Well, I previously worked for the Housing Association, which I absolutely loved, because I really believe that everyone should be able to have, the best housing that they can afford. But I was there for 10 years, so I was just ready for a bit of a change, really. And when I saw this job advertised at Housing Services, I thought, that'll suit my skill set. And that was probably about nearly a year ago.
And are you as passionate about this role as you were as your previous job?
Yeah, definitely. I absolutely love it here. It's a lot more varied, the work here. So, you really get to try a bit of everything. There are lots of different divisions at Housing Services. So we've got homelessness, we've got landlord and tenant, we've got housing benefits. It's just a really wide range. So, it's great. And my role's a general assistant, so I get to do a bit of everything.
Right, so it's wonderful to hear that you're in a role that means so much to you. What about the team? What are they like?
We're in an open plan office, and there are 7 other general assistants as well as me. And we all support all the divisions, so we're all managed by Aaron. Everyone works really hard, the team's really upbeat. The work's challenging given what we're dealing with, but there's lots of sort of office banter and jokes, and it's really great. And to be honest, everyone seems really nice except for one person. Which brings us to why we're here today, doesn't it? So why don't you tell me how things were with Aaron when you first joined? Look, in fairness, he was really welcoming at the beginning. He was the one who showed me around and introduced me to everyone and to all the different departments. It's because my team supports all the different divisions, so you do need to know a lot of people. And I really thought we got on well, but obviously not.
So what's been happening?
Well, at first we did get on okay. And then just after a few months, I noticed that he just seemed to be a bit off with me, really. I got the impression that he just didn't like me anymore. And at first, I felt like I could always go to him with all my questions, and if I didn't know what to do. That was for the first few months, I'd say. And then he was always really patient with me to start with, but then his answers, and he just became shorter and shorter with me, I'd say.
Okay. And did you try speaking to Aaron about this?
I don't really like conflict, so I did ask him once if everything was okay, and he just totally dismissed me and said, of course.
Right. Okay, so what is it, do you think, that's escalated to bring us here today?
I'd say I think things came to a head. It was about 2 months ago now, and he just really snapped at me when I asked him a question. He basically yelled at me in front of everyone to leave him alone and stop pestering him. It's an open plan office, so it was in front of all my colleagues, everyone I know.
What do you prompted that from Aaron?
I really don't know. I think he might have just been sick of me asking him questions. Maybe he's too busy for me now. I mean, he does seem quite stressed at the moment.
Right. Well, maybe that's something that we can explore in the mediation.
Yeah, maybe.
Why do you tell me how it made you feel, that incident?
Honestly, I was really shocked. I've never been spoken to like that before, ever. Especially not at work, and I was embarrassed because it was in front of all my colleagues. It was just, honestly, it was just awful. I ran into the toilet, I was shaking and crying, And then I ended up leaving early because I just couldn't go back in and face him.
Okay. I can see this really upsetting for you, so take your time. There's water there if you need it. When you can, if you want to tell me what happened next.
So it really took a lot for me to go back in the next day. It really did. I actually considered going off sick, but then because I was so new, I didn't want to go off sick just because of something like that. I just didn't want to be seen like that. So I suppose really pride got me through and I ended up going in.
And so how has it been with Aaron since then?
Honestly, I don't speak to him. I really don't want to speak to him. We barely communicate. We only communicate when it's necessary, and that's by email. And to be honest, I just avoid him now.
Have you tried speaking to Aaron or even anyone else about what's been going on?
No one really. I mean, the head of department, Michelle, she does know, but that's only because she found me in tears in the toilet. It was a few weeks ago. And I ended up telling her everything. It all just came out, and she took me straight to people's services. So they then asked me about Aaron, and it was actually them that suggested the mediation. But what's made it worse is Aaron's going to think that I complained and I didn't. But that's just going to make everything worse.
Well, if it reassures you, Aaron has agreed to do this mediation, which suggests that he's willing to sort it out.
Yeah.
Has there been anything else that maybe you've not told me yet?
No, do you know what, that's everything. It's actually the first time I've really been able to talk about this, and I was just too embarrassed before, so it's actually really good to have talked about it.
That's really normal. I find most people who are in conflict, they don't often have the space and time to be able to talk things through until they meet me. And I can see it's been very upsetting for you, and I do really appreciate you going through all that with me. So let's just now maybe look at what you'd like to achieve from mediation.
I mean, I just want the atmosphere to stop. I just want to get on with everyone, and I just want for me and Aaron to be able to work together and to be able to be in the same room and just have an actual conversation without it having to be through email. And I really don't ever want him to have a go at me again in front of everyone. So
communication could be better.
Yeah.
Is there anything you think that Aaron could do to help with that?
I mean, he could try just speaking to me, making a bit of an effort. I mean, he's my manager after all, and really, he should be just speaking to me in a civil manner and not raising his voice.
Okay, so we're talking about respectful communication and in a level tone of voice.
Yeah.
But what about you? What could you maybe do to help achieve a better atmosphere?
I suppose I could probably just make an effort and go and speak to him, and maybe ask if he's free before I speak to him, because he is quite busy and stressed.
Okay, so let's just recap those ideas, and then we can look at what's going to happen next in the mediation process. Okay. Well, thank you for explaining your history to me, and it's really fascinating to hear how you've been at Smallville Council for over 20 years and you've risen your way up to a managerial position. That's really interesting. So let's now talk about what's brought us here today. Why don't you tell me about how you found Jackie when she first joined the team?
She was fine. Yeah, start off with, she was pleasant enough, seemed really happy to start the role. She was eager to learn. Took around everywhere, all the different divisions that we've got. She was really polite, professional, but now things are just too awkward.
So tell me what led up to that awkwardness?
She was just constantly asking me how to do things, every single day, multiple times a day. At first I understood it's a new role, everyone's got to get a handle on things, but after a few months it really started to grate on me, and she just doesn't seem to have any initiative to work things out for herself. I think she's just taken the easy, lazy option of asking me rather than just work it out for herself.
Okay, so let's unpack that. When she comes asking you how to do things, how is that communicated to you?
she'll just come up to the side of my desk. Regardless of how busy I am, she just interrupts me. And then I've lost track of what I'm doing. You know, when you've got that focus on, my concentration's interrupted. I just think she's really selfish because she doesn't think how she might be affecting me.
What would suit you better?
Maybe if she asked for a minute, if we had certain times of the day when I know that I'm going to get interrupted, just help me plan my day.
Okay. So if that communication could be better managed between you, would you then be happy to take her questions?
Yeah, within reason, obviously. I don't want questions all the time, but...
Okay. Let's just talk about when you were in her position, when you first started. What was it like for you?
Going back through the mist of time there. Yeah, I found it really stressful, but I love the nature of the work. I'm really all about the service that we provide here at Smallville.
Great. And what was your manager like?
Great guy. What a guy. He was great. He always had time for me. Gave me training on each of the divisions that we had. So I had a basic understanding, I had a firm base of what was going on in each area, and he supported me coming up through the ranks.
Sounds like you had a great mentor, great experience with him.
Yeah.
And what about Jackie? I heard you mention something like training there in each division.
Yeah, I did get that, yeah. No, to be fair, Jackie's not had the same training because, well, things are different now. I'm so busy. I mean, to be fair, that could be something that I'll have a think about, yeah. I'll think about doing some training.
Well, that sounds helpful. So we've talked about communication, maybe getting Jackie up to speed, a bit more with the training. Mm-hmm. You've explained your difficulties in that communication process previously. Is there anything else? What do you think brought things to a head that brought us here to this mediation today?
It's a bit embarrassing, really. I think you might already know about it.
Well, I'm not here to judge, and everything that you tell me now stays completely between us, so please be reassured by that.
I'm not proud of it. One day, I just blew my lid. I was in the middle of a really important report for the head of housing, and it was a really long, involved report, full of stats, you know, that sort of thing. And we had such a tight deadline, and it was at the same time as we were having some problems at home. Our kid got caught smoking, and he got sent home for the day, suspended. And I had to take the day off to sort him out, and, you know, kids. I don't know if you've got any of your own, but...
Yeah. Got a couple of teenagers myself, so I quite understand.
Well, you'll know what I mean then. I was stressing about getting the report done. And I had to focus on it. With the deadline, I was up against it. And Jackie, she just came up to me and asked me the most obvious question. I know I shouldn't have reacted. I'm not proud of it, but I saw red. I stood up, shouted at her, told her to leave me alone. I feel bad, it's not like me, but it happened.
Okay, I appreciate you going through that with me, thank you. And I can see that came from a place of stress, both from your home life and the deadline at work. And you said that now you feel bad. Have you explained to Jackie what made you react?
No, we haven't had any time to talk. I've not hardly seen her. I'm a bit embarrassed about it, to be honest with you, but not really had the chance to talk to her about it.
Okay, so you said the chance to speak to her about it. Does that mean that you do want to sort that out then?
Yeah, I was going to see her. I was going to just say sorry. But then she went running off to Michelle and complained. And, you know, it all blew up from there. It just made me really unhappy that she's gone behind my back and she couldn't come and talk to me directly.
How do you know she's complained about you?
Well, I had to go to see people services, didn't I?
Did they say there'd been a complaint?
Well, not in so many words, but got the impression that, you know, I was in trouble.
So you're not entirely sure what was said and to who. And as for being in trouble, mediation is a two-way thing for both of you to sort out your issues so you can work better together in the future. It's not a case of right or wrong, so you know something about being in trouble. It's a totally voluntary process, so the fact that you're both engaging in the process, that tells me you both want to sort it out.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, do you know what? It feels like a relief to get it off my chest, to be honest with you.
Well, that's a really normal reaction, and I do really appreciate that you've talked me through everything that's happened there from your perspective. So let's now look to the future. What do you want to achieve from the mediation?
I want some boundaries around the communication. I think that'll prevent this from happening again.
Tell me what makes that important to you.
Well, I'm the manager. I need a smooth running team. We're dead busy. We just need to get on with it. I've been only managing this team for 2 years since Reg's retired, and I don't want to look bad.
So you say for the future there, so that's short term and long term, there's a fair bit riding on this, getting this sorted out.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's look at how to get there then, in that case. You've given me some ideas, like having some set times to talk, or she asks you if you're free. We mentioned training, so you've got some ideas coming through already there.
Yeah, there's a few things that could work, yeah.
Okay, and what about that incident that you mentioned? How do you think you could maybe address that?
Well, like I say, I'm okay to say I'm sorry. I'm happy to be the bigger man, but, you know, it just came from a place of frustration, stress.
Yeah, I recall you saying that. Is that something that you're prepared to voice in the mediation itself?
Yeah, like I say, I'm happy to do that, but do you know what? I want an apology from her as well. You know, I want her to apologise about complaining about me to Michelle.
Okay.
So I think that's important.
Yeah, I can see that that's clearly bothered you, that aspect. So that's again something that we can look at exploring during the mediation itself. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I think that's everything off my list now, thanks. But I'll think about other ways that we can work better together.
All right. That would be really helpful, thank you. So let me just run through with you now what's going to happen next. So hi, both of you, and welcome to this mediation today. I just want to start off by talking about confidentiality, as the entire process is confidential. It's the cornerstone of mediation. And what that means is that the entirety of these discussions that we have here now stay between us. As this is a voluntary process, if you look across the table, you'll see someone else who's equally as willing to sort this out today. So, you know, you've both chosen to be here, so I hope that gives you some positive encouragement to just start us off. Mediation is future focused. So I mean, we're going to have to talk about the past, obviously, because that's what's brought us here today. But I really want you to focus on the future. Consider what kind of boundaries you want to have around your working relationship, just to make it work better for both of you moving forwards. As for my role here today, I am independent and I'm impartial, so I'm not going to be taking sides. I'm also not going to be providing solutions for you, as that is completely within your control. It's you guys who have to live with the agreement that is reached today, not me. So I will be facilitating the discussion with that aim in mind. So I'll be guiding the communications between you and helping you find a way to that ultimate outcome. When each of you are talking, I would encourage you to take the opportunity to listen intently. You may hear something that you've not heard before. You may learn something that you didn't know. It may even be something that can help you see the dispute completely differently, perhaps. Shortly, I'm going to be inviting you each to make your opening statements, as we discussed in our initial meetings what that meant. And that's an opportunity for you to have your voice and for you to speak about your perspective and what you want to achieve today. When you've both done that, I will raise each issue in turn and we'll work through each of those issues. I'm going to be capturing every agreement that you make. Those agreements are going to be typed up by myself into a document which is called Heads of Agreement, and that is also a confidential document and won't be shared with anyone else. Unless, of course, you both agree that it can be, but you both have to agree that. Finally, I just want to express how positive it is that you're both here today, and I'm really looking forward to working with you both and seeing what solutions that you arrive at. Before we make a start, are there any questions?
No?
No.
Okay. So, Jackie, you were the person who brought the issue to mediation, so we'll hear from you first. And Aaron, if you just listen and let Jackie have her voice and see what there is to hear and learn today.
Sure.
Okay, so over to you.
Aaron, I'm honestly, I'm not quite sure how we've got here, to be honest. When I started things, I thought things were fine between us, and you really helped me settle in, and I am thankful for that. But then I just noticed this tension, and I did ask if things were all right, and you said everything was okay, and then you just had that huge blow up at me, and that really did upset me. I was shocked, I was embarrassed. Now we're not talking, and things are just really awkward. I don't speak to you anymore, and I just don't know where to go for help, and I'm just really struggling at work, and to be honest, I'm just really struggling. I want us to get back to how we were. I mean, we weren't best of friends, but we did get on, and I want us to be able to just talk again, and I just don't want us to have to avoid each other.
Okay, thank you for that, Jackie, and Aaron, thank you for listening. So now, Aaron, tempting though it may be, without responding to what you've just heard, as there will be opportunity for that, can you please give your opening now?
Okay. Yeah. Firstly, I want to be clear that I'm very aware of the incident when I blew my lid, and that wasn't me. I want to apologise for that. I've been meaning to speak to you about it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And to apologise, to explain where it all came from, because it wasn't me, like I say. But you know, before I could talk to you, you just went off and complained to Michelle, and do you know what? That really upset me, actually.
Jackie, I can really appreciate you really want to speak and say something, but maybe just note down what you want to say and just listen. Yeah. And then, you know, we'll see what you've got to say after. Okay, so just carry on.
Thank you. So yeah, the complaint to Michelle. Yeah, I meant to apologise. I fully accept it wasn't. I was out of order. It wasn't me. I can explain, it's not an excuse, but things were bad at home. I had pressure for this report, and you knew the deadline that we were under. It just wasn't the time to talk to me. And I had the day off, I was behind, I didn't handle myself in the best way. But at the same time, you do interrupt with a lot of questions, Jackie. And I get you need to ask stuff. I remember when I was you, but it's really frustrating. And when I'm absorbed in my work, my focus, it just goes. I just think that you can ask some of the other assistants. It doesn't always have to be me. Or just work it out yourself. It's a real source of frustration that I've got to be interrupted all the time, and I just want to use this mediation, you know, to find a better way.
Thank you both for that. There's a number of issues raised there which I'll want to look at. But before we do go into that, there's just something I just want to check first of all. Jackie, did you hear that Aaron apologised there for the incident in the office?
Yeah, I did actually, and I do appreciate that because it really did upset me. Obviously, we need to talk about the frustration that my asking questions is causing, but it does sound like Aaron wants to look at those issues
Absolutely.
as well, so I guess that's reassuring.
Okay. So that apology, that's something that you accept?
Yes, I do accept that. I just want to move on. I just want to move past it now, and I want to avoid it ever happening again.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's something I want to do too. Yeah.
Okay. Great, okay, so already we've got an apology there, and that has been accepted, and an agreement to talk professionally in the future. Before we go into the issues between you, when Aaron mentioned the complaint to Michelle, Jackie, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I did. Listen, I did not complain about you to Michelle. I actually didn't want to talk to anyone about the difficulties I was having because I was quite new, and I was just embarrassed. But Michelle found me in the toilets crying and she asked what was wrong. I tried to brush her off, but you know what she's like. And before I knew it, it had all come out. She took me straight to people's services. And I didn't mean for things to escalate like that. And I didn't complain, but I did tell people's services that our relationship was strained.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's fair enough then, you know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that. To me, you just ran off to Michelle.
No.
You know.
Okay. So, are you satisfied with that then, Aaron, there?
Yeah, I think that's a good progress.
All right. So the first thing I'd like to raise is the issue about communication. So, Jackie, you've raised the point that you daren't speak to Aaron at the moment, and Aaron, you have expressed that the timing of questions could be an issue for you. So, Aaron, let's start with you. Why don't you just explain a bit more about that?
Well, do you know, I don't mind people talking to me. You know, I'm not a monster. Yeah. When I'm doing smaller tasks, that's fine. But do you know what? When I'm in the middle of a larger task, you just can't interrupt me. I get really absorbed and focused. And every time you interrupt me, I lose track of where I am. You know? And I have to start again, and it just puts me back. I just find that loss of concentration really frustrating.
Okay, I completely get that, but how am I supposed to know when you're doing a minor or a major task? I'm not a mind reader.
Okay, so Aaron, how about you? Have you got any ideas of how you could signal when you can and can't be disturbed?
It's pretty obvious when someone's got their head down. I mean, you know, I usually wear these headphones, you know. It's pretty clear when I've got them on. Don't disturb me. You know, I think I use them to block out noise so I can concentrate better, really. And that could be a signal. You know, when the headphones are on, just don't talk to me.
Jackie, would that work for you?
Yeah, I can try. I'll make an effort to check whether your headphones are on, and if they are, then I know I've got to wait.
Great, so we've got an agreement there, haven't we, that Aaron can only be disturbed if he doesn't have his headphones on. Brilliant. Now, do you ever have any urgent inquiries or queries, Jackie? And what would you do if Aaron has got his headphones on?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure.
Well, do you know what? You can always ask some of the other assistants. They're all really experienced.
Okay.
You could try that.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I could ask them because they're the same level as me, that's all.
No, they'll all be happy to help. And, you know, they've all been trained similar ways.
All right, so I'm hearing that Aaron is happy for you, Jackie, to ask you the assistants. And Jackie, are you now comfortable to approach them when needed?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, it's nice to know that I don't always have to ask Aaron. And, you know, now I know I can ask the other assistants, I can alternate between them so that I'm not too much of a pain.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got an agreement there then, haven't we? That's great. So about these work questions, is there anything else that could maybe help? Aaron, can you maybe think of anything?
Well, when we were talking the other week, it got me thinking that, you know, maybe some general training might help you. Maybe sort of like thinking about the common requests. Something like, you know, you get like a frequently asked questions, you know, a cheat sheet, if you will. Do you think that's something that would help you?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I meant to do one for you, meant to get round to it, but so many other things came, but I can put some time aside to do it for you, I suppose.
Yeah.
So would you have that time now, and would you be able to do that now?
Well, not today, but I could invest some time in it, I suppose. I'll put some time aside.
Okay, lovely. And is there anyone who could help you with that training aspect?
Charlie. You know Charlie, don't you?
Yeah.
No, he's a good lad, and I'm trying to put him up for a promotion. It'd be useful for him to, you know, just for his own knowledge. Give him a chance to show off a little bit, and I can always sign off on it if he sits down with you.
Okay, fabulous. So will you ask Charlie to do that, Aaron?
Yeah. I'll make a note in my diary and I'll speak to Charlie.
Yeah, that'd be really helpful, thank you.
Great. Okay, so we've got an agreement there, haven't we? That so if Jackie needs to ask a more urgent question and Aaron's got his headphones on, then Jackie's got. She's not going to disturb Aaron, but she will go and ask another one of the general assistants instead. And we've also got Aaron's going to organise training for Jackie from Charlie, and that'll be in common requests. And you're going to talk to Charlie about that?
Yeah, that's fine. That's no problem.
Great. Is there anything else that you can think of that might help the communication between the two of you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would still like to be able to talk to Aaron. I mean, he is my manager. So I get that when your headphones are on, it's like a do not disturb sign. I get that. But I do think it might cause me some frustrations if I'm just always having to check.
Something that I did think about, it crossed my mind actually. Sometimes with some of the others, we book slots in during the week, you know, just sort of like to catch up and see if they've got any issues, and, you know, look at things. I could book you a regular slot, you know, every so often, catch up, see if there's anything that you need help with.
Yeah, definitely. That's exactly what I'd want. Just some sort of regular meeting where I can just check in with you. Yeah, that'd be great.
That's good. Okay, right, I'll sort that out then.
Great, so we agree on these regular slots, these regular meetings, and what does regular mean to each of you?
I was thinking maybe once a week, something like that.
I was thinking once a day.
Oh, no.
Okay,
No.
so we've got a mismatch there then, haven't we? So let's look at that.
Well, I suppose we could start the week, say Monday morning, and finish the week on a Friday afternoon. So we catch both ends of the week, bookend it twice a week. That'll do. That'll be enough.
Could we maybe do midweek as well? Like maybe, you know, Wednesday midday as well?
So 3 times a week. Well, all right, let's try that. And then after a month or so, can we have a look at whether we can dial it down? We might not need as much help by then.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I've noted down you've agreed to meet every week, so that's on a Monday morning. I've got Wednesday midday and Friday afternoon. And you've also agreed to have a review in a month's time, so then you can reassess the frequency of those meetings, yeah? Great, okay, so is there anything else that we've not discussed that you want to bring to the table at this point?
No, and I'm actually really glad that we did this. I realise that I've just buried my head in the sand for a while now, and you know, I'm really glad that we've done this, and I wish we'd mediated sooner.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, I should have spoken to you sooner. Just one of those things. But, you know, the ball got rolling, so, and do you know what? End of the day, it's brought us here, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, mediating's been really helpful.
God. Do you know, I hear this so often that people wish that they'd either spoken sooner or mediated sooner, and obviously I'd always recommend early communication, so that's great that you've found it so positive. So I just want to summarise what you've both agreed here today so far. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type that up into a document called Heads of Agreement. Is there anyone that you would like me to share that document with after you've checked it?
I think Michelle would probably be a good person to see it, to be honest with you, just so she knows that we've worked everything out, everything's fine now, it's all smoothed over.
Yeah, I agree, and then we can just draw a line under it and start afresh.
Right. Okay, great. So I'll send it to you both to check, and then I'll share that with Michelle. So I'm just going to go over all those positive agreements that you've made that I've just noted down.
Great. Okay.